Alright guys, we're back with another EZA type support video, and we're moving on to INT, starting with the super INT support in Kid Gohan. Back to having no dupes once again. Level 1 links, seeing how they perform at the very basic of their EZA. Starting with 117k attack stats, 71k defense. I'm not gonna lie, this one wasn't too difficult to get the INT units needed to activate his guard. I mean, he has one of the strongest ones in the game with LR Vegeta and Trunks. If you went on to a different category like God Goku, there's also SSJ4 Goku along with these two as well, potentially. But also, you have much better choices very soon because Global's about to get EZA transforming INT Gotenks, and one of the best EZAs in the game when the 9th anniversary comes about is EZA SSBE. So he's going to have some of the strongest INT units in the game on the same teams as him, regardless if they're all under a 200% lead or not, doesn't really matter. But some of the strongest INT units in the game to trigger his guard while they're as good as they are. So he's in a very good spot, and again, he goes on some very good teams. To be fair, this is not a bad rotation to start him on. We can actually get him a decent amount of orbs. 8 key spheres, 400% attack and defense. I've noticed that is really just like the common number we get, which is 8 key spheres. 400% attack and defense. How many? We got six INT key spheres, so we're going 120% attack and defense, 60% chance to crit, and we're on 697k attack stat, 303k defense, with of course that 4-turn guard as well. He also has the same super attack effect as CABBA, which is huge. I think the super attack effect is quite nice. 3.9 mil, that's only going to go up. He'll cause supreme damage to the enemy and raise attack and defense by 50% for 9 turns, which, again, like I said with CABBA, with content going a bit more on the longer side, like turn 10, turn 12, Shadow Dragon event, he's going to be good for. 9th anniversary content is going down that longer route style. He could work in there. And again, being a slot 3 unit that is made to be kept out of the way, if you had dupes, and especially with him being an INT unit, if you had dupes, your best bet on a unit like this, and the same applies for CABBA, is, especially with built-in crit, based on how many same type key spheres you can get, your best bet is additional and dodge. Especially being a slot 3 unit where they're kept out of the way, and if you really need be, they also have a chance to dodge. But especially with this guy having built-in 5 dodge, just naturally being, you know, just naturally being an INT unit and getting that 5 dodge for free. But as I said, has some very good options when it comes to INT type units, and there's only more to come. There's only more to come. So the type of units he can be supporting with that INT types key +3, attack and defense +10%, but more importantly, super INT types getting attack and defense +50%, which you're always going to be running him with super units. So even getting that turn where you get to nuke and change the entire field to INT key spheres as long as your HP is 50% or less, having 2 or more superclass allies, again, whenever it comes to the superclass units, you know, the superclass EZAs from all of these type supports, having superclass units or 2 superclass units with them on the team is incredibly easy because the entire team is going to be superclass, which makes that great. Same can't really apply so far for the extreme units we've been using. You know, with Hit, Super Boo, they're just not in the good enough spot. We're also actually getting some support from this future Gohan right now with Bondus Martin Disciple. We're getting an extra link as well. So we're actually sitting on a 230k attack start off for 1 super and 140k defense and a bit of support. 9 key spheres this time. 9 key spheres, so 450% attack and defense. 7 of these are INT key spheres, so 140% attack and defense and a 70% chance to crit. That's almost guaranteed crit. 1.23 million attack stat, 535k defense, along with still having his guard active. And we saw this briefly with CABBA. Funny enough, not in his own video, but we saw this with CABBA when we used Hit and both of them on the Universe 6 team. When CABBA got a few supers off, 4.8 mil isn't too bad, especially with a 70% chance to crit. But again, slot 3 unit, it really doesn't matter. Funny enough, we didn't actually crit then. But we saw CABBA like a decent amount of supers deep, like 4, 5, maybe even 6 super attacks deep. And we got him a decent amount of orbs, and he was like 800k defense. So, you know, maybe this time round with Gohan, we can get close to like the 9 turns worth of supering and get him a decent amount of orbs. And I said these two with that SA effect, which is such a good SA effect, 50% for 9 turns. So with the way content's going as well, it helps these units out so much. These two, even at 55%, and if you can get them enough orbs, not sure how many, but if you can get them enough orbs, I'm not even talking about like tons like nuking, but enough orbs with that super effect almost fully done or fully done, they're definitely going to have over 1 mil, which is kind of insane to think about again, because they're 55%. At that point, their guard's gone, but they still pretty much tank everything in the game on global right now, aside from like the supers. But I think a Mega Shenron, they might actually be able to survive without an item active, depending on how many orbs you get. I think Zamasu would be the only kind of one that would give you issues. Actually, CABBA would have type advantage, she'd be fine. Gohan would need an item purely for type disadvantage. It's crazy how you can get it that high because of this SA effect, and if you get him a decent amount of orbs as well. But I said, Gohan's in a good spot because with the super type, well, not even just the super type, with his whole support, he's supporting some good units. As I said, Vegeta and Trunks, Super Saiyan 4, Full Power Stage 4 Goku, eventually EZA Gotenks, eventually EZA SSB Vegeta. He's supporting a lot of good units, by the way. Just want to throw that out there. Oh, 11. How deep are we? 211k attacks to 142k defense. Yeah, that's now that we've lost the support. Everyone's actually getting support right now as well, which is great. But 11 key spheres. Again, 2 of them are rainbow once more, which means 9 of these are still int key spheres. That's 550% attack and defense. That's 180% extra attack and defense and 90% chance to crit. If we don't crit this turn, we're going to be very unlucky. 1.64 million attacks, that's 794k defense. I think our guard has just worn off, but we're not going to have to worry about it now because we have so much defense. And we still, I think he appeared on turn 1. So we still have 5 more turns of super attacking with Gohan, which means his defense was attack and defense, but more importantly, his defense can only get higher. That's fine, you do that. Actually, how much is this going to do? Because his guard's gone. We're not too deep into this event. So yeah, naturally. And he did get his attack load. Still 5.8, so he would have been just over 6 mil. Which, with almost a guaranteed chance to crit, which if he didn't, I would have been really surprised, is actually a decent amount of damage. But again, damage isn't overly important. It's always going to be in slot 3. Let's take a quick look at the categories he goes on. I mean, for a start, he goes on hybrids. That's how we got him in his team here, which, I mean, hybrids, you know, EZA Future Gohan, LR Future Gohan. I know he doesn't support them, but, you know, when you think about the units that go on these categories, you know, EZA INT Gotenks is going to fall under one of them as well, which helps not only his passive, but, and gets his support. That's actually a good unit to have on the team. You can combine it with superheroes here, which is where Vegeta and Trunks is coming from as well. There's also... yeah, Bond of Parent and Child is just forever an amazing growing category. Like, I know he has more, but just Bond of Parent and Child is just so stacked. So you've got Vegeta and Trunks. If I wasn't purely bringing him on a 200% lead, right? Just to see how he does, like, on his best team, I would 100% run him on a 170 lead. Because again, think about it. Even though he's actually going to get to decent numbers once he's, you know, stacked near or those full 9 turns, right? Well, the thing is, that's not going to matter. Because again, like, he's there to support these units. So him being on a 170 lead really isn't a problem. But, you know, for what they're there for, the damage you can get to is fine. But as I was saying, like, if we carry on going through Bond of Parent and Child, like I said, you've got LR Vegeta and Trunks, who's still a very good unit. You've got LR SSJ 4 full power Goku. There's also the LR Kid Gohan, who's still not a bad option. You know, there's also going to be the EZAs I mentioned, and EZA SSBE. Gotenks is also an option as well. You know, and just in general, like, Bond of Parent and Child is just such a stacked team. So not only are you hitting the criteria for, you know, if you get the nuke in turn, which in difficult content will be a lot easier, you know, to do than in a showcase like this, because you only need 2 super units, which naturally is going to be around. But getting 3 int units is going to be a lot easier because you actually have a few options here. I'm not gonna lie. And even if you are missing some, just a lot of them are quite strong, as I already mentioned. So he does actually have some good categories to go on, but just having Bond of Parent and Child is such a massive one, and having the same SA effect as like CABBA. it's kind of huge because it's such a good effect. Like, where is he up to? 269k attacks, that 178k defense. We're only going to get 7 orbs here, and 4 of them are int key spheres. And he's up to 658k defense. That's how strong this SA effect is. So we're on turn 7, he appeared on turn 1. We still actually have a few more turns of him building that up, by the way. I just want to point that out. And that is without dupes. This is all at 55%. Which also means this is without him hitting an additional in a turn and getting a bit extra. So if you have dupes in CABBA and Gohan, you're kind of up, you're winning. Which again, I was very tempted to, you know, take advantage of those discounts, but just because I summoned a decent amount on Jeets, I was like, I'm not going to. But, you know, I definitely would have summoned if I didn't summon so much on Jeets, because dupes in these units, especially like CABBA and Gohan, they're just so strong and effective. But the fact he's got over 600k defense at this point, and he's not even done supering, and we only got him 7 key spheres there, and only, what, 5 of them were int key spheres, I think kind of shows how good him and CABBA are. But I think more so that just shows how strong that as an SA effect really is, combined with how good of a passive this is. Because as I said, with them all having the same passive, they're all good, they're all very solid, but that SA effect really does make a difference. Like, for example, Fizz, the Fizz Gohan that supports superclass Fizz units, him stacking attack is just so, like, I'm not gonna lie, there might be a turn where if you stack long enough and get a ton of orbs, or have that, you know, one turn where you can nuke when your HP is 50% or less, yeah, he might do a ton of damage if you've been stacking long enough one time. But having a unit that goes in slot 3 at all times is made to support units, and is where you're going to keep them for the majority of these runs, especially with how difficult enemies are nowadays. Not saying they can't handle it, but just in general, and, you know, the type of units you're going to be having on main rotation. It is kind of pointless him just stacking attack the entire time. Like, at least hit stacks defense, which is more important for them. So I do generally think the best 2 is CABBA and Gohan. The only thing is, now I'm thinking, like, he's up to 212k defense. Like, if we got the same type of orbs we got last turn, he's got over 700k defense, which obviously isn't enough to, like, tank. It's not enough to tank as a Zamasu basic, but it's close to. You don't actually need an item. Like, we're on almost 500k, and we only got like 3-4 key spheres, which is kind of dumb. If we had int key spheres, it would have been even more. That's why I wanted to bring him in the Cell event as well, or this stage of Red Zone against Cell, because you have enough time to kind of like get a mixture of, if they got like a few key spheres, barely any, tons, and just see where they get to. And especially with the mini stacking for 9 turns. But I'm trying to think, who would I say is better? Would I say CABBA or would I say Gohan? I'm not gonna lie, having Bond of Parent and Child is massive, and I said he does give support to some great int units, but I think it's CABBA, you know. CABBA's not only good for Shadow Dragon and Mega, but he's also has type advantage against Fusions and Masu. He's a great addition to Universe 6. And then not only that, he goes on some other teams as well, which are very strong. I'm actually going to pull CABBA up just to kind of make a comparison right now. Like, CABBA goes on Universe Survival Saga, which kind of makes a comeback because of all the EZAs. Whether he's actually supporting many strength units or not. Pure Saiyans is forever growing. Super Saiyan's in a great spot. Tournament participants, again, the EZAs, it's a great category, even if he isn't supporting too many units. Like, he actually just kind of works on the team, funny enough. I don't know, they're both very good. I don't know who I would say is better, but they are both very good, just because they do offer, like, good support and work really well on the categories they go on. And they do have, to a pair each, some strong categories. But yeah, Gohan is very good. As I said, that SA effect that him and CABBA both share is very strong. Naturally, being a superclass unit, they're going to have a bit more longevity. They work well with a lot of better units. Funny thing is, Gohan's not even a pure Saiyan and also a Super Saiyan. He is a hybrid Saiyan and has Bond of Parent and Child, which is massive. Actually, that's why I'm going to put CABBA over him. CABBA's a pure Saiyan, and CABBA's also a Super Saiyan. There are always categories that can kind of sneak those units in, but Bond of Parent and Child is a massive category for Gohan to Gohan. Gohan to Gohan. I don't know why that made that sound so similar. Hybrids isn't too bad, I said, nowadays, and especially with the combination with Fizz Ultimate Gohan's lead. But I'd say CABBA edges it just because he's a pure Saiyan. He's a Saiyan and also he's a Super Saiyan. And I said he's a big help to Universe 6, but that SA effect is strong. Gohan is still very well. Goes on a very strong team. Goes on a couple, but I said Bond of Parent and Child is massive. Supports some big units as well, just like CABBA does. And there's only more to come with the EZAs coming, like Gotenks and SSBE. And yeah, if you can get him enough orbs and super attack, you know, close to that full 9 turns worth or 9 turns worth, which with Shadow Dragon Omega and the 9th anniversary content coming, you definitely can do. He's going to have a ton of defense once that guard wears off. Like a ton of defense. The only thing that's against him right now on Global is Fusions and Master with a type advantage, which could easily kind of screw him over. But then if you use items, not too much of a problem. And if you get the Key Spheres. But yeah, very, very good. Him and CABBA are definitely the top 2. I'd have to edge CABBA over Gohan, but Gohan is very good. Very, very good. And again, most of these, apart from Fizz Gohan, all at 55%. All at 55%. So that just shows you how good these EZAs really are. As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. And push.